Hello everyone and welcome to another edition of Word in Season. Wherever you find yourself, may this encourage and maybe even challenge you today. I was reading an article by The Guardian earlier in the week called "The Poor Give More Generously Than the Rich." It's a bit of a spicy title, I know, and if you're like me, you read that and cringe just a little bit, particularly because we're more likely to be on the more affluent end of society. But it's not just a spicy title. There's been a fair bit of research into the charitable giving across the socioeconomic spectrum, and time again, the lower end of the spectrum have come out looking more generous, not less. And I want to read you a snippet from the article. It says, "The poor are more generous than the rich when it comes to giving to good causes, according to research which challenges the Robin Hood myth of charity as an agent of redistribution. A study published today finds that the least well-off give a higher proportion of their income to charity than the wealthy, no matter of their age, class, or beliefs. The general trend of poor giving more also remains true among donors who describe themselves as religious, although, and this is good news for us, believers on middle incomes give a significantly higher share of their income than those who do not call themselves religious." So there's some good in there, right? I read another study on Psychology Today that backed up those findings. It said studies have shown that lower income people were more generous, charitable, trusting, and helpful to others than those with more wealth. They were more attuned to the needs of others. Now, I don't know about you, but I find that incredibly challenging. You wouldn't think that'd be true. You'd think it'd be the other way around, but the key seems to be empathy. The poor know what it's like to be poor. They understand the suffering and hardship, and so they give. One of those studies they did an experiment, and I think it's fascinating. They showed people across the socioeconomic spectrum sympathy-inducing videos, whatever that means, right? And encouraged them to imagine themselves in different financial circumstances. And the fascinating thing is, it had a direct impact on their desire to be generous. I'll read you a part of the story. It says, "The poor, imagining themselves rich, became less altruistic. And the rich, imagining themselves poor, became more generous to the destitute and ill." And Piff, that's the guy who's running the study, concluded empathy and compassion appeared to be the key ingredients in the generosity of the poor. Now, I found all of this out while I was preparing for my Father's Day message. I was talking about the Philippians, right? And it helped me understand the passage that I actually read out last Sunday. Paul is bragging about the Philippians as he writes to the Corinthians because their extreme poverty welled up in rich generosity. He says, "I testify they gave as much as they were able and even beyond their ability, entirely on their own. They urgently pleaded with us for the privilege of sharing in this service to the Lord's people." Well, that's empathy and compassion. They knew what it was to struggle. They knew what it was to be in need, and they wanted to make a difference in other people in that same circumstances. And I'm challenged by that. I really am, and I hope you are too. I read that and I think, I don't want to live in a bubble. I don't want to be apathetic. So here's my prayer. And this is a prayer I want to pray over you, wherever you are today, and a prayer that I want to pray over me. And maybe you want to pray with me. My prayer is, Lord God, would you open my eyes? Would you soften my heart and open my hands, that I might see generosity as a privilege, not a burden. Well, that's my prayer for me, but that's my prayer for you as well. That we might be genuinely empathetic, that we might have sympathy and compassion for those around us, because we're not closed off or callous to the needs of people living all around us. We're not living in a bubble. No, we see the needs all around us. We have empathy and compassion, and we're motivated out of the love we have for people, the heart we have for people. We're motivated to give, to be generous. pray that's true of you, and I pray it's true of me.